Tekken is a bit of a goofy fighting game. You have the infamous scene of the cliff throw and a fighting bear. With a game that does not take itself too seriously, they are bound to try a couple of fun things throughout their game. One of those things is Tekken Bowl. This game mode was brought back a few times so far, so let's take a look at all of them. The first time this game mode appeared was in Tekken Tag Team Tournament. This game spiced up Tekken by allowing you to play with two characters who can switch out whenever you want, and if one of them dies, the round is over. To unlock the Tekken Bowl mode, you need to beat the arcade mode 10 times. It should not take too long to unlock. I'm not very good at fighting games, but I learned the universal fighting game technique: jump kicks. This thing can combo into itself sometimes and it's very easy to master. Once you jump kick your way to victory 10 times, you will get Tekken Bowl on the main menu. Here, you can pick two characters as well. The game plays like most bowling video games you would expect to play. You get to move your character left and right, and after picking your position, you get to pick the angle you want to throw the ball. While picking your angle, you'll see this meter going back and forth, which will determine how much spin the ball will have from one direction or another. The meter moves back and forth by itself, and you need to try to stop it with how much spin you want. The next meter is on the right, which determines how much power the shot has. The higher the meter, the more power you have in your shot. This is the basics of playing, but there are some interesting mechanics to this game. Depending on the character you pick, your meters will act differently. The spin meter usually does not go all the way in both directions, which depends on whether your character is a righty or a lefty, or if you're Jack, your muscles are too beefy to be able to spin all the way in both directions. The speed at which the meter moves is also different depending on the characters. This seems to be dictated by the weight class of the character. Usually the lower the weight class of the character, the easier it is to get the amount of spin you want on your ball. The same goes for the power. The lower weight class character also has a slower power meter, and with this, you would think it would be easier to use a lower weight character, but there are trade-offs. The speed of the ball of the lower weight class character is slower, which means your spin has to be more precise since the ball has more time to spin on the lane compared to the heavyweight characters. It's basically a balance between power and precision. I prefer playing with the heavier character as I have more leeway with the spin and power meter compared to the light character. The ball goes so fast that the spin meter does not even matter sometimes. It's nice that the game lets you pick two characters, and one of them will bowl first and the second one will bowl if there's any pins left on the current frame. It's nice that the game lets you pick two characters. I think a great combination is having a heavy hitter first and then having a lighter character try to get the rest of the leftover pins with their better aim. One thing I did find annoying was that the game does not have something that shows you where you're aiming. This gets a bit frustrating because different characters stand in different manners, causing it to be a bit confusing as to where you are aiming. There is some odd exception with the two robots and whatever this guy is. While aligning yourself is similar to everyone else, when you're picking your angle, it goes into this first person mode, which gives you a crosshair of where you are aiming. It's cool that they gave this to the robot characters, and again, whatever this guy is. But I do wish every character had a way to show me where I'm aiming at. The mode only has one stage, which looks nothing like a bowling alley, and the mode uses music from the different stages in this game. The bowling pins are also designed after Heihachi's head, who is a character in this game. No clue why they decided on this, but it does add to the charm of the game, just like the overcharge. If you get the lowest option in the power meter, you will overcharge and fly into the pins with the ball and get a foul. It was pretty funny seeing it the first time. A foul is the same as a gutter ball, so no points. I guess you put too much power into the ball and it takes you with it, is my understanding of it. What is even more odd is that this mode is only single player. For a fighting game, you'd think there would be a versus mode, but you can play it in pair mode, I guess. It just means that each player controls their own character in the team. So it's co-op bowling, which is not something I ever expected to hear. After you finish the game, you get your stats and get shown the leaderboard. If you manage to get up there, you could input your initials on the leaderboard. Yes. Hey, The next time they brought the game mode back was on the PSP with Tekken Dark Resurrection. To unlock it in this game, you only have to beat the story mode 3 times, which is like 20 fights or so. Jump kicks were more effective in this game than in the other one, so it was so much easier to unlock in this game. The game mode did not change much in this version. The mechanics and the loose personality of the old games are still in this one. Even the overcharge meter and the Heihachi pins. Did this guy invent bowling in this world or something? If anything, it feels more like a step back, since they got rid of the 2 characters, so you just use the same one the whole time. It's not a big deal, but it does get rid of that strategy of using a heavy hitter and then a precise character. The UI for the meter also looks bland compared to the other one. Not sure why they added these meters that look like they belong in a car or something. Feels out of place to me. What do you think? One improvement has to be the stage. I don't know, but there's something. There's just something about this stage that is much better than the old one. The game mode does have its own music, and sadly, it only has 1 song. It's better than nothing, I guess. They did add a 2-player versus mode, and since it's on the PSP, you pass it back and forth during each turn, which is odd that they have it on this one, but not the PlayStation 2 one. The most interesting about this game's Tekken Bowl is a new mode called Striker. This mode is a strike marathon. Try to get as many strikes as you can, and you only get 5 errors per run. It's nice, but I still prefer the regular game of bowling. There is a leaderboard in this game, but you have to find it in the ranking menu. There is an iPhone app called Tekken Bowling, but it's impossible to get your hands on unless you still had an old iPhone and somehow magically already had the game installed on it. I sadly could not get my hands on it, so I can't say much about it. There are gameplay videos on it on YouTube, so if you're interested, you can go ahead and take a look. The last time the game came back was in Tekken 7. In this game, unlocking the mode is probably the easiest, but worst way to unlock this mode. You have to buy it with DLC. No, my wallet! It's sad to see these fun modes now get kept by money, instead of fun things that is unlocked or just there. This mode is the best one out of the 3 that I played, which should be, since I paid extra for this one. Everything on this one is better than the PSP version. Besides maybe the stage, depending on who you ask, I guess. They kept the mechanics the same in this game, and the charm of the old one, like the robots and this thing, having the first person mode when setting up the angle. Ugh, it has tentacles now. Now, everyone seems to have a logo or design on their bowling ball, which is cool. They also added some additional things to make it easier to play. They added a line that will show you where you're aiming, which makes it so much easier to aim and shoot where you want to. If you get a strike, the game's music will change, and the whole stage also changes to give you a small hype moment, and will stay that way until your strike streak ends. The spin and power of each character are told to you on the character select screen for you. And one interesting thing they added is regular bowling pins. You can choose between the Heihachi pins and the regular bowling pins. The Heihachi pins are like slidier. The striker mode is back, and in this mode they use both pins, and they made some improvements to it. They give you 5 balls and you're supposed to get as many strikes as possible like the last one. But if you get the Heihachi pins, it is a chance for you to get an extra ball if you get a strike with them. Also, every 5 frames you get a challenge to do with the pins that are put in a specific formation. The only downside is that the formation of the pins and the challenges is the same in every playthrough of it, no matter who you pick. The leaderboard seems to be by character instead of overall score. So you will get a high score with that character instead of the game mode high score. This is definitely the best Tekken Bowl mode out of all the iterations I was able to play. But I do have 2 complaints with this mode. The game lets you customize your character and use them in fights, but for some weird reason it doesn't translate to this game mode. Also, why no online mode? The only downside of online I can think of is when someone finds a sure way to always get a strike and kind of ruins the online experience for some people. In the end, Tekken Bowling was a fun little game to play and a nice little extra for gamers. The original feels like the one with the gimmick, even though it was the first one to come out with the 2 character option. If you ever want to play Tekken Bowling, do play the one for Tekken 7, as it is the most fun one to me. But it does kind of suck that you have to pay extra for it. If you want to pay for it, you can probably download any bowling game in your phone's app store, as it plays very similar to those games. But you won't be able to play as any of the Tekken characters, which I think is the appealing part of this minigame. Hello and welcome to the end screen. If you want to watch something else from me, go and watch me talk about Warrior World on the GameCube. If there is a game inside of game or something similar you want me to take a look at, let me know in the comments down below. But as always, my lovely patients, I thank you so much for watching and tune in next time. Bye.